Hello, Jeff Foster, WebBiz Ideas. This tutorial is on your content inventory document. Now the main goal of this is to download and understand your content inventory document. So to get started, let me just show you what this is. This document is here. It's a tab called Content Inventory, and it's part of a much larger tutorial or a template you can download on our site called On-Page Optimization Inventory. So On-Page Optimization Inventory really is everything that you want to change or modify on your website, and the content inventory document within this template are specifically those pages that you want to add, and it also includes pages or content that you want to add and promote on other people's websites. So to get started and show you how to use this, I'm just going to go through column by column and explain what each one is to help you understand what to enter into this template. So first, column A, the current and old URL. This is for when you already have a page published online. Let's say for example, you rank #1 for a great keyword, Landscaping Ideas Minnesota, but the page is kind of boring, just a bunch of written text. The information's good, but it's kind of boring, and you say, hey, I want to redesign this. I want to add landscaping ideas in all different forms, decks, fences, flowers, swimming pools. I'm going to have nice colorful images here that people can click on and then go to other pages. So in this case, right, it's already published online, so you'd copy that URL and then you would enter it into column A. And so now anyone working on this project knows, hey, this is the current or old URL that we're using, and then they can take it from there. Column B, the current page H1 title. In short, right, this is the page title of the page that's published already, or the page title of the new page you want to create. So for example, let's say you're looking through your keyword research and you find, hey, disability insurance for physicians. Well, I already have a page for self-employed people, for lawyers, but I don't have a page created yet for physicians. So you got to copy that, and then you would add that to column B, right? So your page title will be disability insurance for physicians, and that's what would go in that column. Now on the flip side, again, if you already have the page developed and published, right? For this example, again, our 3 landscaping ideas for Minnesota, right? We would just copy that page title and we would add it to column B. So very simple, but that way everything's organized. Column C, content type. Now we have a lot of examples of content type you can include, but really when you're producing content online on your website or any other place, you can build content in many different forms, right? It can be a simple sales website, right? Or it could be a blog post. It could be a case study, a tutorial, right? You could be adding content in many different forms. And so that's what column C is for, right? Is it a sales page? Is it part of the resource center? Is it an article? Is it an article plus a video? Is it a blog post, an infographic? Is it a poll, survey, editorial, right? So the content type or the media type would go in column C. Column D, called Is It Live? Very simple. If it's published, you're going to add it as a yes, and if it's not published, it's going to be a no, right? So for example, again, that example, hey, it's already published online, it's going to be a yes, it's live. Or hey, this is just part of my keyword research. I'm just starting to decide what pages I want to build, so no, it's not published already. Column E is really how many words do I want on that page, because you can build a web page or a blog post that's 300 words, 500 words, or 1,500 keywords, or and more. So you want to plan out yourself, or if you're outsourcing this to a content writer, they need to know how many words do you want built, because they usually charge by the word. So many people ask, well, how many words do I need to be perfectly optimized? And really, the answer is it doesn't matter. The answer is really build great content, and that's it. So it can be a very short blog post, like for example, the Seth Godin blog post here. he is a very well-known blogger, but many of his blog posts are very, very short, like this, right? And it got 1,500 tweets, 1,100 people liked it. A lot of activity, and it's just this. So very short blog post, but good content. At the same time, he produces longer, blog posts, and perhaps with an image. Same thing, 2,800 tweets, 714 people liked it. So the whole point is that it doesn't matter how long or how short your blog post is, or your article, or whatever you're creating. The important part is it good content? Now, I would recommend that it's at least 300 words. For the most part, again, you don't have to stick to that, but usually 300 words works very good for optimization. If you're an established blogger and you're not trying to optimize every single blog post, well then it really doesn't matter. But if you're not and you're starting out, well, you want at least 300 words so the search engines know what that page is about. Moving on, the column F, examples. This column is really for again, organizational purposes and helping you remember kind of what you want to create. Because when you're doing this, you may have 20, 30 pages planned out, or if you're giving this over to the content writers, they're starting to look at this and they're saying, what is this about? And so you want examples. So here you have the hyperlink already in here, so you could link to examples of the content that you already found. Maybe you want to write on a topic of what is disability insurance, and you found a great page from a National Academy of Social Insurance, and you say, hey, I want a page that's very similar to this, so I'm going to copy the URL and then I'm going to add it in my example. Or let's say, hey, you found a great video on disability insurance, but the video is not that good. Maybe I can recreate this. And so you're going to copy this and you're going to add it into your example, right? And you could go on, right? Let's say I found a great image or an infographic, but maybe I want to take this infographic and I want to create a new one. Or maybe I want to create a video out of it, or maybe I want to create an article about it, right? You're going to copy that and you're going to add it into the column example. And so this way, when you get ready to build this page, well, now you have all the examples that you were thinking about, or if you're giving it to a content writer or someone else to write this, or an employee, well, now they have an example of what you want, and that way it gets built correctly. Column G is on why. Now, really, it's why are you going to build this page? That's the question. Now, for most pages on your site, like sales content or resource centers, I leave it blank because it's obvious, right? I'm looking to sell something. But at the same time, and you at the end of the video, I'll go over this tip, but we recommend that you organize things also by off-page content. Again, this is content that you're building to promote somewhere else, maybe a guest blog post. And usually when you're creating this, you want to know why. Maybe you're using this for a link bait, right? Or maybe it says right here, a December issue, this is an editorial. And so maybe you even might want to link it, hey, saying there's an editorial, in December, chiropractors for older patients. Hey, 90% of my patients are older patients. Maybe I want to reach out to this magazine and get an editorial in that month, right? And so that's what that's for. It's just to help you organize on saying, hey, if I'm promoting this somewhere else, why am I creating this content? And that's going to help you create it. It's going to help you create it on time, and so forth. Column H is on wireframe link. So what's a wireframe link? Well, when you're building a website, a lot of times you just don't just create the web page, especially if it's something new or custom, because you want to know what it looks like, and you want to, perhaps if you have working with a team, you want to get it approved by everyone. So instead of just throwing something up and hopefully it works, right, a wireframe or a web prototype allows you to blueprint it. It's kind of like a blueprint for a building. And this isn't the example, right? It's not everything. It's saying, hey, picture is going to go here, right? This is the header is going to go here, right? Maybe you add some information here, right? So it's just a wireframe. It's just a framework of what's going to be there. And so if you've taken the time, which I suggest, to build something like this before you build the page, you're going to add the link there. At the same time, if you're outsourcing this to a web development firm or a graphic design firm, you better make sure that they give you something like this before you build it, because otherwise they're just going to build whatever they want. But this way, if you request, hey, I want a prototype, I want a blueprint of what you're going to build first, you can say, oh, hey, is this what I want? Is this what I want to build? Is my content going to look nice in this? Other advantages of doing this, if you're outsourcing your content development to a content writer, well, now they can look at this and say, hey, well, there's bullet points here. Well, I better make sure my content's formatted that way. There's a quote here. I better make sure it's formatted that way. Otherwise, the content writer may just give it back to you like this. And you say, well, what am I supposed to do with this, right? It doesn't fit in with how I want the page to look. And so, again, if you wireframe out, your pages, you'll make sure that it looks exactly how you want it, and the content gets created exactly how you want it. The next columns I, let's see, through L, are all relate to the same thing. It's updating the page H1 title, updating the URL, updating the meta title, updating the meta description. So basically what it's saying is, right, if you're going to want to further optimize the pages you're building, this is, what it's supposed to be, right? If you don't want the article to, the page title to be, this, or whatever you put in column B, well, you're going to update it here. If you want to change the URL of this page, right, to something different, well, you're going to add it there. If you want to update the meta title, the description, and so forth, right, you're going to create it there. So you're just really optimizing. This comes in handy, again, when you already have pages built. At the same time, when you're publishing new pages, obviously you need to tell your web designer or whoever's doing it, if it might be yourself, to say, hey, this is what I want the page title to be about. This is what I want the URL to be, and so forth. So that's where you add that. Column M is the priority. 0 is basically the highest priority, and then it goes from there. So this says, hi, hey, this is 0, right? I put this under my home page. It's extremely important that gets done right now. Again, 1, it's the next important that I need this done. And so you want to have some sort of priority scale, again, for you to help yourself stay organized and say, because it might be I put 20 different ideas in my document, and then it comes down to this one and says, this is more important. I want to get this page built. So put priority in here, and then you can sort by this in Google Docs, and then the top priority will come up number 1, and so you know what to build. Or again, your employees are outsourced, content writers, and they know what to build and when. Column N, keywords to focus on. This is where you put the keywords that you want the page optimized for. So again, perhaps maybe you're having someone else, write the page titles that we talked about, over here, and maybe someone's gonna, update the meta descriptions, but you say, hey, these are the keywords I want it optimized for. Or hey, when you rate this content, make sure this page is optimized for this keyword. Or at the same time, when you're looking at your keyword research and you keep saying, hey, I keep seeing the word, villas for rent, rental. Rentals, maybe I see luxury, villas. I want to mention those keywords on that page too, right? So whoever's writing this content, make sure you include those keywords on the page so I can rank for those as well. So this is where you put all your keywords that you want to rank for in the document. Column O. Column O is interview or content gathered. Now, as a web development firm, we like to interview our clients, and then we build content based on that, so that way the information is coming from a true expert in the industry. At the same time, if you're not doing that, also you should add content gathered. Perhaps you're researching the topic and you have, hey, this is some awesome information from Wikipedia on disability insurance. When I come back and write this content, or if I have someone write it for me, I want to make sure that they go there and get this information, maybe even cite this and source this, right? You're going to want to put all the content that you've gathered, just like a research project, in here, so whoever's writing it, it might be yourself, has all that nice, neat, and organized. And then finally, column P is content writer's review. Again, if you're going to have someone review the content that you've created, perhaps check for spelling, grammar, things like that, you might want to put yes or no in here to make sure that gets done, or even check it off when it has been done, and then you know that you can publish it. And really, that's a tutorial. Those are all the columns. You can go to our website and ask us any questions you have on this. If you're watching this tutorial, and from our other tutorials too, we've modified this a little bit. So now you have a rundown of this entire document. This document is extremely important, like I said in the beginning. You use it to add all pages to your website, and you also use it to add and create pages that you're going to promote offline, off your site. Now, I only have 2 tips I want to talk about. Tip number 1 is to keep organized, and we mean very, very organized. So in column B, you'll notice some are bolded and some are indented. So again, if you're creating a sales page, you want all your sales pages underneath that main category. And then you even want to indent your pages, because I'm telling you from experience, when you start getting 30, 40 pages in here, it gets clustered. And so create your main categories and put them in bold, and then your subcategories, indent them, and then the actual article or so forth, you might want to indent those even more. So keep organized, right? If these are all your sales pages, put your sales pages here. If these are all your resource center, put them there. If, hey, this instead of portfolio, this is your blog, put all your blog posts underneath there, and that way you know what you're creating and know where it's going on your website. And then tip number 2, for content that you're going to create just for the purpose to publish it on other people's websites, again, like guest posts, we like to put it down here under off-site promotional content. And this, again, will be blog posts, articles, infographics, things that you're going to publish other places, editorials, maybe it's a forum post. And so keep organized and put all that content down here. And that way, too, you can add, again, where to post that content. Again, if it's a guest blog post, you want to add that there. And that way, when you write this, you know the audience and community you're writing for, and you can build better content. So keep organized and put all the off-site promotional content down here as well. And so those are my tips, and hopefully you can use this to keep organized when you're building and planning out new pages.